Hey everybody, here's where we're at today. So I came across a little issue when I was testing. Of course, I had no out here and we were playing with it going up and down. I raised the front up and the back comes up, and I'm thinking, what in the hell? Well, it makes sense now that I think about it. When we have air coming in, like this is from the valve block up here, air comes in, I have it teed right here, see? So that way when air comes in for my automatic ride height, it will fill the valve and then it will go out and it'll just tee into the bag. Well, when I put air in, air also went into that chamber and then teed off, because this line is controlled after the tank, see? So I got the line coming down, and then that goes to the 12-volt solenoid. Then it's teed off 2 times for the front and the rear. So I've got these one-way valves I'm going to stick in line, and hopefully that'll solve the issue. So I'm going to put these in line, and then we'll bring you back on here. I'll show you what else we got going on. Pulled the rear apron out from underneath the house. Pretty rough, but hey, it's a street car, I guess. So in the past, this part of the channel, or the seal, I never had it hooked to anything. You can see where I raised the shelf up, and then all the lower channel is still in there. And I'd basically just put the engine in and wedge this in, and you can still see some residue of it. Just put a little dab of super glue on it, and it would stick for however long. Well, I have this other apron. I'm going to try cutting that channel off and welding it to it. If not, I bought some new channel. We'll see. But I want to fit it to the back of the car. I don't know if me having to beat this lip, you can kind of see how it's pretty well beat. If that flex the panel around a little bit, but I want to get it to fit a little better, because it fit perfect obviously when I cut it off the car. And then after beating on it and shit, one of these edges kind of like pokes out and the other one tucks in, so I want to straighten this thing back out. And it really needs some paint. You can see where the exhaust heated up the paint and bubbled it, but I don't think I'm going to paint it right now, at least. That's a semi-easier project to do later down the road. I want to get this thing drivable. It's been way too long. But anyways, I'll get these valves put in and we'll put you guys back on. We'll test it out together. Here we are on the passenger side. I got the driver's side done already. There's that one-way valve right here. So I put that in line with the air supply. The other one's already in on the other side, but I was almost thinking of putting the other line, or the other valve right here on this line, going to the rear. But I think I'm just going to do it the same in the rear, where I have 2, one per side. So I'm going to get this wheel back on and start moving to the back. Got this thing off the jack, the automatic ride height, or whatever you want to call it, system. Should probably come up with a name for that. Automatic ride height's pretty good, but anyways, let's test this sucker out here. Just got it up to shop air. Now it should keep the back up, and when I drop the front, let's check her out. Okay. That's a good sign. The back's not raising. And so far it's holding left and right. Awesome. Well, that worked out as it should have. It's one of those things you don't know if it's going to work out, or you come across little small things like that. And we can go ahead and hit the auto. So one thing I came across with those valves, I can't remember if I videotaped it or not, but I'll come down here and point it out anyways once I get my wheel chock back underneath it. So I took these valves apart on the front, and basically this arm behind this back cover here, there's a little lever, and it operates 2 Schrader valves that are inside of here, and behind this fitting, if this thing would focus, behind this fitting there's 2 Schrader valves with the screwdriver, straight slot deal, so you can screw it in and out. See how they have that little ball valve down the bottom? So the fronts, I have them pretty much so as soon as it starts actuating this arm, then it will start delivering air. I tried backing them out to kind of delay the response, but then you have too much slop, you know what I mean? It could move an inch and it wouldn't make a difference. So I made them sensitive. I'm going to do the same to the rear, and I'll show you what I have planned. I bought these two, I have 2 of these I bought for backups because they were cheap enough. They're like $4 or something like that. Basically it's like a 12-volt timer relay, I guess. I don't know, there's a bunch of different settings. If you guys are interested, I can put the link in one of the comments or something. But basically you can have your source triggered by this, and you have power go to it, whether it be key on or full-time power, and you can set it to either right when you turn the key on, it puts power to it for a certain amount of time that you set, or you could have it turn on and off. And what I'm basically going to have this do is once I flip the switch for the automatic ride height, I'll have it stay on for 5 seconds or something like that, turn off for 20, come back on for another 5 seconds, turn off for 20, and just do that over and over and over again. So that way it's cycling the air supply coming into the ride height control valve, so that way it's not letting air in, letting air out, letting air in, letting air out, and just running the compressors all day long. So I'm going to say that was a good fix with those one-way valves. So now I'm going to get started on this thing. I'll bolt this thing up, or at least have it sitting back there, and see how far off it is where I have to beat. Here you can kind of see I beat this up. See how it was recessed down like that? I beat it up so that way it would clear the exhaust. And the exhaust clearance is all going to change, I think, because before, when I had originally made this, the trans rays that I had homemade, the rear I did 2 inch, and the front I did like 1 7/8 inches or something like that, right? Why I did it that way, I don't know. I think I was trying to keep the Type 1 nose cone in the tunnel, hence why I had to cut all that shit up in the front, why it looks like crap. But anyways, now I have a bus nose cone. It's a full 2 inches all the way around, so if you think about it, going from 1 7/8 inches, even though it's only an 1/8 inch, that's going to tilt the back of that motor down just a hair. So I should have gained a little bit more exhaust clearance. We will find out, because I'm going to have to put the motor in here. That's on the to-do list. I went and updated the whiteboard with a bunch of stuff I need to do. So one of those is putting the motor in and making the exhaust. Now, as some of you may remember or may not, Here's the 2058 stroker tucked back here with a bunch of crap on top of it. When I first built that, I built it to turbocharge. And this is the turbo that I'll be using. It's off of a like a 90, what was that, 92 or 93 up to a 98. I'm wanting to say Saab 93 or a 900, either a 2 liter or a 2.3. So I'm going to make the exhaust for this to fit too. I already found a flange. It was kind of a pain in the ass to find all the info on this. I believe it's a what is that? It's not a GT series turbo. I'm wanting to say it's a TB 2569. Yeah, it was a real pain. I mean, it's small compared to the size of my hand. It's not big, but I'm not looking for big. I'm looking for low down power. This motor only revs up to maybe 6,000 if I stretch it. If not, I mean, the power band goes right up to 5,500. I'm wanting to say is when it stops pulling. It's been a while since I've driven it, you know, so I forget these kind of things. But anyways, I figure while I'm doing the exhaust, I might as well get all the exhaust bits made for this, make some brackets, so that way when I'm ready to turbocharge it, it's going to be basically a bolt-on and then tuning from there. So that's going to be awesome, and I'll videotape that as much as I can. This engine has a Sidewinder style exhaust. I bought it through AA Performance when I built the engine, so I think that's going to work awesome, putting the turbo in the inner fender well and then just running the charge pipe up through the side of the apron, right up through here, and right into the engine. Get some more power. If the stroker power is not enough, let's turbocharge it, right? Alrighty, well, I'll get busy on this and then I'll put you guys back on when I have that thing bolted on. Got all the shit moved from behind here and got it all sitting on wooden blocks. Let's see how well this thing tucks in there. Make sure I'm not pinching any wires. This has made it a lot easier for engine removal, as some of you that work on these things probably know. Don't have to jack it up, do all the extra shit. Makes it nice. Just more unbolting. And this is just a piece of 1/4-inch plate bolted to the body. Yeah, it's kind of sprung. Kind of see how it's off there. Off there. I'm gonna try. Again, I gotta make sure none of my wires are caught. I'm gonna try tightening up the bolts here. We'll get the nuts out, and then go from there. Yeah, like I said, I welded those shelves back in. I raised those up 2 inches already. So let me get the nuts here and put those suckers on. So there it is, snugged up. I still have a little bit of movement, but you can see how far off it's shifted. Even down below, just kind of strange. So I'm gonna have to try bending some of this shit around, I guess. This should all still be, yeah, that's tight. That one's a little loose, but shouldn't affect, really. I mean, it could, but yep, I'm gonna have to do some tweaking around. I don't know if it's hitting on this or this, causing that some issues. I don't know. It looks like I got plenty of clearance right here. I'm gonna have to mess around with it some, because I want to get this lined up a hell of a lot better than it is. I don't know if I can just pull around on this a little bit and get it to line up, but I'll mess with that a little bit. And then once I get that thing straightened out to where it sits where I want it, I'll pull it back off and then put the motor in. Man, hopefully I don't have to move those blocks. I might have to, because I got the deep sump. Well, we'll find out. Alright, I'll put you guys back on here in a little bit. I did some tweaking around on this thing. Lines up a lot better, and where it counts, I suppose. Down here it's a little bit bigger, but that could have been from me grinding when I cut it. Hard to say. Like, that's got a pretty big gap there, but it's a little bit better. Well, it's a lot better while we bullshitting. One thing I always meant to do on this was I wanted to put a plate behind here and drill a couple holes. That way it supports this, because if you look at it, I'm gonna move the apron. Well, I guess you can't really see. It's hard to see on video. It does have a lot of flex. So I want to do something to help stiffen that up. Will I do that right now? Probably not. I got that thing straightened out pretty good for what it is. So I'm gonna tear this sucker off and pull that motor out of back there and strip the upper tin off and intake manifold off. It's gonna have to come off anyways for tear down. And I actually found another set of rings for it, so let me pull this thing back apart and we'll move on to the next step. Nah, I fibbed. I figured heck with it, and you know what? It made it so much more sturdy. I just had some scrap that I had laying around, so I put that in there. I'll use some stainless button head Allens on that son of a gun when it goes for final, after I paint the bracket and stuff. Put some nylock nuts on it. But anyways, figured I'd show that real quick before I tear it down again. Alright, back half's coming off.